Hey guys, Jessica here. So today we're going to talk about bra fit with flanges and with cups and how it could be influencing your pumping outcomes. So bra fit is one of those things we really didn't used to think about it all that much. When wearables hit the scene, we started to have to pay attention to it more. When Willow launched the Willow Go, we got very attentive to bra fit because we started seeing pumps die really quickly related to bra fit issues. We know that your bra needs to fit if you're using a bra to pump. But let's talk about why. So I have a video on how to do a bra fit check. If you're working with me, this is something that I recommend checking in addition to flangizing because this is just as crucial as flange fit in my opinion. But let's talk about, start with flanges and then and then we'll go to cups. So with flanges, what needs to be happening is if you were to hold your pump to your breast, you would hold it a lot like this. Let me grab another flange so I can show you. If you are using a hands-free bra, this is the fit I'm trying to mimic. The way that we do that is we get you in a properly fitted bra, and this is where a lot of moms have gone wrong. They're wearing bras that have bands that are too big and cups that are too small, and I know that that sounds ludicrous, but I'm going to link the Buberbust calculator below, and I want you to go take your measurements, and I want you to see what size bra you should be wearing, because chances are you are not wearing the right size bra. So remeasure, and this is something that shifts. I don't care if you were a 36C from the time you hit puberty until the time you got pregnant. Breasts change during pregnancy, breasts change during lactation. You need to recheck your bra fit if we're having any type of pumping issues. If you're not having pumping issues and you like how things are going, feel free to ignore this advice, but also know that if you are using a suboptimal bra fit, you could compromise output. And you may not figure that out until the milk is gone. And then when we try and get the milk back, it's not always as easy as you would think. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that that band is nice and snug. All of the support in your bra is coming from the band. I refer to it like a shelf underneath of the breast that everything is sitting on. What happens if your band doesn't fit? There's no support for the flanges. It ends up kind of doing this number. So we end up with it shoving into the bottom half of the breast and we end up with it pulling away from the top half of the breast. That doesn't work really well. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that it is evenly sealed to the breast 360 degrees around the flange. And we want to make sure that it is staying centered on the nipple and that it is supported. So you have to get that right. If you're not, you're going to end up issues. The biggest thing we see is elasticity and flange fit issues related to the bra hanging off you like this. We do see some that are kind of shoved in. We've got tissue bubbling over, but that tends to be a lot of like low output. This is unlikely to be causing issues with elasticity as much as the flange that's too loose. But the flange that's too loose tends to start by suctioning the nipple and then it slowly starts to pull away as that nipple is tugged and we get an increasing gap up here. You can actually see it in your bra when you see a ridge pulling away from the tissue. If you've got that, you now have a nipple that's going to appear to be in a flange that's too large, a nipple that's going to appear to be elastic. You're going to size down. You're eventually going to cut off blood flow to the nipple. We see this a lot with moms who are like, I have to be, a size below my nipple size because I'm so elastic. When we go in and we look, we can fix their elasticity just by holding their flange up, which means you have now compromised your milk supply. And again, can we fix it? Typically, but is it a guarantee? No. And we're going to do the same thing with cups. This also applies to wearable pumps, but cups and wearable pumps are the same idea. Wearable pumps are going to be a little bit heavier, so you're going to need to pay a little bit more attention and you're going to need to have that bra a little bit more dialed in. But with cups, it's going to be essentially the same. So with cups, you want it to be sitting firmly against the breast tissue. I needed to have an air seal. It is typically going to have a slight compression of the breast tissue, but I want to minimize that as much as possible. I need to have the band snug so that the cup is not doing the exact same thing we just talked about with the flange. And with the cup, because it's such a wide surface compared to, look at the surface area that this covers versus this. So with this, it's actually a little bit harder to see that effect. Where we see it is down here at the bottom where it's shoved into the breast tissue. But based on the latest study done by Medela, the bulk of our mammary tissue is actually in this outer ring, almost where if you were drawing breasts on a cartoon, you would draw the underside of the breast. That is where the bulk of our mammary tissue is sitting. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize if you take the bulk of your mammary tissue and you shove things into it and compress it, That is going to block milk flow. That's actually a strategy we use with overactive letdown is we tell moms to press into the tissue in alternating areas while they're having a letdown to slow the flow of milk. So you are effectively slowing the flow of milk. This is why a lot of people are struggling with wearables. Wearables are not going to be 100% as optimized as flanges for most people. We can typically only get them to 80 to 90%. My goal is to get everybody to that 90% mark. But if your bra is not fitted correctly, we may be down at 30 to 50% efficiency or less. And this is why a lot of people really struggle when they're using wearable cups. If you don't need to use wearable cups, great. You don't have to worry about this. This may be, an area where you don't have the bandwidth to troubleshoot this, and that's fine. No one is telling you you have to use a wearable, but I have lots of moms who absolutely need to use a wearable option in order to get their pump sessions in. And if we're compromising that efficiency, this is not just a matter of, we hear it talked about on social media that if you use a cup, it's a secondary pump and only use it once or twice a day. And that is nonsense because that's not reality for a lot of people. If you want to be able to use your cups to pump effectively, you have to get them optimized. And that the bra fit is a big thing. Flange sizing, flange shape, flange texture, all of that plays a role, but we know how to correct that. Bra fit is one of those issues that people are really just starting to understand, and it's definitely one of those issues that if you are looking to make the most of your time with pumping and you don't want to be holding your flanges or holding your cups to your breast, you've got to learn this issue. So here's what we're looking for is that proper fit. If you're not using the proper fit, you're going to compromise efficiency. Typically, we won't see the impact right away for some people. It may be down the road. For others, it's going to be immediate. But it's definitely something if you're using a hands-free bra, I would I would double check it. It's such an easy thing for us to fix. It's an area where we know how to fix it. So don't let your pumping be compromised by bad bra fit. It's just not worth it. So if you have any questions, definitely let me know down below. If you're struggling with this, book a consult today. We can work on this. We can make this better for you. I'll link some resources down below and let me know if you have any questions. Happy pumping.